You're the only one who's on mute so far.
Hey, everyone press he's himself on mute.
Make it louder, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Can everybody mute themselves?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to start now. Welcome everyone to tonight's International HOD lecture series. The Hebrew Order of David International is a forum of an ever-growing forum of Jewish adult males operating as a cohesive fraternal unit, supporting its members and serving the community, applying Jewish ideals and values while providing its members for personal development. We are based on 3 continents, represented in 5 countries by 21 lodges. It is a great privilege and honor to introduce our guest speaker, Les Glassman. Les is a South African-born dentist, currently based in Jerusalem, Israel. Besides being actively involved in the HOD Lodge in Jerusalem, Lirkat Ir David, Les currently is the head of the Israel Philatellicaly Society, and he is also the Wits University representative in Israel. Les has a passion for interviewing interesting Jewish and non-Jewish personalities throughout the world. Many of his interviews can be found on YouTube. Les' talk tonight is titled Representing Israel Internationally, Philatellically Speaking. I'm sure this talk will be interesting, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the journey with one of Israel's finest diplomats.
Wow.
Les, I hand it over to you. Take it away.
Well, first of all, everyone, and I cannot thank you enough for asking me to give this presentation. I'm extremely grateful and appreciative that you had the faith to ask me to represent Israel here in this talk. And thank you for recording this evening, that hopefully later we can all see it on YouTube. So I just have to correct, and I really want to thank you for that beautiful introduction. I was actually asked to be a commissioner for the Israeli Philatelic Federation 10 years ago. And having collected stamps since the age of 6, my late father was very passionate. He was a judge, and he instilled that love of philately into all his children. And I started collecting from a very young age, and I just had a great love for stamps and philately. So when I came to Israel, I joined the Philatelic Federation, and I exhibited in a few countries. And when I came, they were having an international exhibition in Joburg in 2010. They asked me if I could represent Israel as a commissioner. So for me, it was like a dream come true, to be a representative of my country. I was it was such an honor and a privilege. And I came to South Africa, and it was the very first exhibition that I had attended as a commissioner. I brought quite a few collections with me. And you'll see, we're going to go through a few slides where I'll explain to you the incredible journey that I've had in the last 10 years. So I've chosen a few of the highlights, and I'm showcasing quite a few of these amazing exhibitions that I was really privileged to be asked to be the commissioner. So the first one, and it was very appropriate that I'd be in Joburg in 2010. It was also the year of the World Cup. It was an amazing year, and I went there, and because we had the catalogue. This was it was held at the Stanton Convention Center, and this is in the brochure as the different commissioners that were going to be in attendance. So there was from all over the world. You can see from Kuwait, from Arab countries, Europe. It was very well attended. Andy Fisher was the Commissioner General. And at this exhibition, I actually met with the Pakistani. He came up to me and he asked me, do I know how I can get halal food? And I actually decided. I went to the shops and I bought a few packets of crisps and chocolates. And I looked on the label where it had both the based-in sign and the halal sign. And I showed it to him and I gave it to him. I said, when you see the halal sign, you know that's okay. And then I also met the Indian representative, the commissioner, and I saw that those two did not interact with each other. They had no interaction at all. So I got them together, and now we're going to show a picture. Yeah, this is with the Pakistani and the Indian commissioners, and I said to them, guys, I'm sure you both love cricket. And when I mentioned the word cricket, their faces lit up, and we were discussing Imran Khan and Tendulkar and South African cricket, and we just all got on very well. And the three of us became like closest friends, which was actually quite amazing. What happened at this exhibition, which was also wonderful, is that they had a luncheon for the Royal Philatelic Society of London. And I don't know if any of the HOD members remembers Brian Grusd, who passed away, but they invited Brian and me to this luncheon, and it was amazing because we weren't members, and they had ordered kosher food for us without even telling us. And when our platter came, ours was actually nicer than everyone else's, so we shared it with everyone. And I've been a member of the Royal Philatelic since then. But it's a wonderful gesture that they did. At this exhibition, I was walking around, and from New Zealand, I saw the most amazing exhibit. There was an exhibit by a non-Jew called Bruce Sheridan on the Holocaust, on the Shoah, and I was mesmerized by this exhibit. I couldn't believe it. And I'll just show you just 2 pages from the exhibit. This is from a non-Jew who wrote the whole history of the Shoah, of the Holocaust, before the Shoah, during the Shoah, and after the Shoah. But the thing that really caught my attention, which it was so incredible, is that he took a letter that he had found, and this is just one of the pages that he had on his exhibit, which was sent to a family son, and he did his own research, and he found out who were the people in the letter. And here you have the picture at the bottom of the father, the mother. They were musicians, and their daughter. And this is the only memory we have of that family, because they were all taken to the camps, and they never returned. They were killed. And I was like really mesmerized, isn't even the right word, but I contacted I met the New Zealand commissioner, Jenny Bannisfeld, and I was in touch with Bruce. And through the SIP, the Society of Israel Philatellicaly in America, we published this book. And it was something really quite extraordinary. So I never dreamt that I would be had the privilege to see such an exhibit in Joburg. 2 years later, because I had a South African passport, and maybe because I've gotten quite well with all the other commissioners, the Israeli Philatelic Society, they asked me, the Federation, if I would be willing to go with my wife to Indonesia. And you could not go to you can't enter Indonesia with Israeli passport, but I had a South African passport. And Israel was invited as an official guest. And all the Philatelic Federation exhibitions, they're world championships, which are under the patronage of the government of Indonesia. And this fell under the Post and Telecommunications. It's going to be held in Jakarta, with the mayor of Jakarta and the press. And I said I was very willing, and I just was a little bit nervous, but I was very willing to do it. And we sent my credentials, and they accepted me. And then they published a bulletin. And in the bulletin, which was quite interesting, they put a picture of me with the Israeli flag, and they had an Iranian commission as well with the Iranian flag. So it was going to be obviously an international exhibition with over 60 people, 60 countries, 60 commissioners and judges attending. And we went. My wife and I went. We went via Singapore, and I'll never forget. In Singapore, we went to. We spent Shabbos in Singapore. The day that we're to arrive in Jakarta through customs, because you're taking very valuable exhibits, they have the customs waiting for you, and it's a whole procedure. it was going to be on Shabbat. And I wrote to the organizers. I mentioned, due to, I keep Shabbat, is it at all possible to come either before or after Shabbat? They said you can come on Sunday, which would be, they were very accommodating. So we spent Shabbos in Singapore, and we went to the magnificent Magen Avot synagogue. And then we had booked our meals, and on Shabbos lunch, it's a very communal atmosphere they have there. They have a lot of the Israeli embassy staff come to shore, and they schmooze after the service, and they have this wonderful meal. And they heard that my wife and I were heading out for Jakarta. And I'll never forget, one of the embassy officials said, "Wow, don't worry, your yarmulke there, you might land up like Ronnie Rand." So, I was nervous, but we took the flight the next early Sunday morning, and we got to Jakarta. And when we got to the airport, I wore a cap because I was a little bit nervous. But this is what greeted us. Death penalties for drug traffickers under Indonesian law. I was a little bit nervous, but I knew that drugs wasn't going to be an issue. Anyway, as we got through the customs, the officials were amazing towards us. It was quite a long drive from the airport to the exhibition center, and they put us up in a beautiful 5-star hotel. This was the welcoming committee when we got to the exhibition, and they were just incredible. Everybody was so friendly. You can see everybody smiling. It was absolutely amazing. And that night, they had a welcoming party, and you can see the exotic people got dressed up, and this is an exotic Indonesian lady with my wife, signed a peace deal with the UAE and Bahrain. Bahrain joined at the last moment, but this was the commissioner from Bahrain, and this was in 2012. And we just got on so amazingly well. It was really something quite extraordinary. This was a philatelist. He wasn't a commissioner. He was a philatelist from Saudi Arabia that we also connected beautifully with. We had only one free day, and they got in Jakarta. I don't know if any of our esteemed members from the HOD, and I want to take this opportunity to also thank Cliff and everybody from the HOD for helping putting tonight together. To our grand presidents and all members of HOD, I'm really extremely grateful for you for giving me this opportunity. Anyway, so what happened is that in Indonesia, there aren't too many tourists that go to Jakarta. Most go to Bali or they go to Java, but the capital, Jakarta, is not really very touristy. It's not very welcoming for tourists. But they got this magnificent tower. It's a very large tower which is made out of marble. And we had a free afternoon. My wife and I went, got a taxi, we went there. And the girls, they saw us as exotic. We saw them, but they hadn't seen too many foreigners. So they came to my wife and they wanted to take pictures. It was really quite exciting. And we went up to the top of that tower. Okay, this is a video of a FIP conference. We'll just listen a little bit to it, and you're going to see something quite incredible.
My having this discussion with our new Portuguese fisherman, the shopper, it's not a lot of doubts in our mind, although I took it for so many years. But thank you, shopper. And we take the effort, for example.
Okay, so what happened is that at the end of the exhibition, there was a FIP conference. FIP is for the Federation of International Philately, where countries from all over the world, they have this conference once every 4 years. It's like a mini UN, where you have countries all over, and you sit, and then they discuss very important aspects regarding postage and philately. And I was the Israeli representative there, and because Ireland didn't attend, I sat right next to the Iranian commissioner. And it was actually quite amazing. I'm going to show you the picture of the Iranian. A very nice fellow. This is at the FIP conference. It was Japan, Israel, and the Iranian commissioner was on my right side. And he's she came up to my wife and I when we wondered how you keeping kosher in Jakarta. And we mentioned that we had bought provisions, but that broke for us. When we started speaking, we got on really, really well. And here I'm shaking the hands with the Iranian commissioner. This was in 2012. And what had happened is that I got an email that the commissioner unfortunately passed away a few months after that exhibition. And I wrote to wish the family a long life. And they replied to me, and they were very grateful that I wrote that email. And I actually met the son of the commissioner who was in Australia, and he gave me this amazing, amazing book. You'll see it's Israeli films in Farsi. And this is a page from this incredible Israeli catalog that was issued in Iran before the Shah, in the time of the Shah, before the Khomeini came to power. Then this is from Haaretz. They came to my home after the exhibition, and I came back to South Africa.
I came back to Glassman. I live in Jerusalem. I've been collecting stamps from a very young age. I was very fortunate to be the Israeli commissioner in Jakarta, Indonesia, for a World Stamp Championship exhibition. The theme was Bridging the World of Peace Through Stamps, and by officially inviting Israel to participate, I think it was very significant because basically the two countries, Indonesia, which is the most populous Muslim country in the world, with over 250 million Muslims, has no diplomatic relations with Israel. When we arrived, we were extremely warmly received. Most Indonesians had never met an Israeli before, let alone anyone wearing a yarmulke, and the response was extremely positive. I mentioned I was from Israel. People were very, very interested to know more about the country. My collection is Mozambique and Mozambique Company. It's not the rarity of the stamps, it's just a display that I've done a lot of research on it. Mozambique Company was an area inside Mozambique that was semi-independent. It was a company that lasted for nearly 50 years. It had a bit of independence, and one of the features of independence is they issued stamps separate to us. It's giving a little school kid a envelope coming from Israel with a stamp of Israel, with a message from Israel. They received it so warmly. They were so happy to have it in their possession that I gave it as a gift. I'll remember that forever. It was really wonderful. It broke down all barriers. The message of peace through stamps, it really does work. The stamp knows no boundaries. I think when you connect with people, when you have similar ideals, and when you just look at each other as individuals, it's just wonderful to see that you really are part of the nation.
Okay, Haaretz actually, they came to my home after the exhibition, and they saw the photos of the Iranian, and they asked me, please, can they publish them? And I said, oh no, I didn't want to put anyone's life in danger, and I didn't do those pictures for ulterior motives. Anyway, what happened is, but they did this, I didn't even know they were doing this little video of me. When they came, they took pictures. It was very nice what they did. The following year, in 2013, in Australia, in Melbourne, they did something quite extraordinary. They had also a World Stamp Championship, and it was held at the exhibition grounds in East Melbourne. It's a 100-year-old World Heritage Site exhibition hall, and also we had an array of commissioners from all over the world. And I'll just show you a picture of that exhibition. This was the exhibition grounds where we had it, in the exhibition hall. And what happened is that they had one country that was at this exhibition that they chose to do a joint stamp. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of a video of this because it is actually quite extraordinary.
1st of October 1917, and unfortunately, obviously, with a lot of that did end in a loss of life, but it also did have strategic thought in terms of capturing this Shiva, and that was obviously a significant Australian victory in the across World War I. So it's a landmark battle, it's a landmark state issue for us, and I think the capture of Shiva really broke the Turkish defensive lines, and certainly allowed the British forces to capture Jerusalem, which sits in battle in the Great War, and certainly in the history of Israel. So Shiva now is part of South Israel. So very important from that perspective. The two stamp issues that you'll see actually on display at the Australian Coast Stand, being the title of the Australian White Horseman. They feature a beautiful image of the statue of the Australian White Horseman that stands today in Bathsheba in the path of the Australian shoulder. And the $2.60 international stamp is actually titled The Battle of Bathsheba 1917, and it actually features both historic and contemporary images. We have actually a number of other different.
Okay, so this is the actual stamp, and it was issued both simultaneously in Australia and Israel. And on the stamp in Australia, it's actually got Hebrew on the stamp. So it commemorates 1917, the Australian forces that fought and liberated Beersheba. It was actually quite extraordinary because Israel was the only country that they did a joint stamp with. And you had the mayor of Melbourne there, you had the press. It had tremendous coverage. It was on the news, and it was just such a privilege. And I felt so proud of my country that Israel and Australia did a joint stamp at this exhibition. I must just go back, sorry. This was something which was, there's a word, Mina Shamayim. The same philatelist that was in Jakarta, I saw in Melbourne. And a friend of his also from Saudi Arabia, and they happened to be outside the Israel coast. And I was there at that split second. I asked somebody, please can you take a photo? So this is actually quite an incredible photo, I was together with two Saudi Arabians outside the Israel coast, with the Israeli flag proudly displayed. So that was actually quite, I was quite happy to do that, and we're happy to go into the photo with me and to do it as well. In 2016, Spain had an international, it was like a national exhibition, and they wanted to have Israel as the guest of honor. It was in Zaragoza, which is in the north of Spain, and I was very pleased that the Federation asked me if I could be the commissioner. So I went with my wife to Zaragoza. They really don't know English, and it was extremely difficult to communicate with the organizers, but we went, and I tried to look up anything Jewish in Zaragoza, very little on the internet, but we stayed in, this is in the actual palace where they had the exhibition, and on the floor you can see there was a mosaic, which the Magen David, I don't know if it was intended to be one, but these were the Spaniards, and I'm in the middle, because Israel was the only country that they asked to join their national exhibition. We stayed in a street. It was also Mina Shamayim. It was amazing. It's this is a street called Calais Cosso, and it's the same street as the exhibition had, our hotel exhibition, and further at the end of the street. This was the Jewish quarter. This was the remnants of the Jewish quarter that once existed in Zaragoza, and it was all on the same street. It was actually quite incredible.
This is the plaza of St. Carlos.
This once used to be the Jewish quarter. This is all that remains, and they've got a beautiful plaque in Spanish explaining that this was the Jewish quarter. And while I was there filming, a girl came up to me and my wife. She said, you know, you're the only Jews I've ever met in Zaragoza. It was actually quite astonishing. When they had the Palmares, that's the award ceremony, the organizers said to me in their like broken English, but they said to me, we've got a surprise for you. And I'm going to show you the surprise. I thought it was actually quite incredible that they took the time and the trouble to learn the band, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav. And it really was, I said, wow, all the time, because I was overwhelmed. It was, my wife and I, we just couldn't believe that they did that. But Spain issued also a joint stamp of the bridge. This is the suspension bridge. They have one in Zaragoza, and the design of the bridge is actually Spanish. So here you have on the top the Spanish stamp, and on the Israeli stamp with the bridge, and at the bottom you have the same sign from Spain, which was wonderful. And you know, it's not an insignificant thing. Gibraltar once was going to do a joint issue with Israel on a stamp, and what happened with that stamp is that everything was organized, it was going to be issued, and I'll just show you. This is quite a rare picture of this Gibraltar stamp. You have the Rock of Gibraltar and David Citadel, and they said, you know, because we fall under England, we have to ask permission. And they asked permission from England, and the answer was no, you can't do it. Not only weren't they allowed to do it, they said to Israel, you can't issue your own stamp with Gibraltar and the Rock of Gibraltar as well. And they paid for Israel to have all the stamps destroyed. So this is, I saw this at an exhibition. This was a stamp that should have been issued, but because of political interference unfortunately from Britain, it never came to fruition. But Spain actually did do a stamp of Jerusalem and of Zaragoza. So it was very significant. And going to Spain, the people were so warm and so inviting. It was really, really special. In 2017, the following year, Indonesia had another exhibition in Bandung. And when I heard the word Bandung, it's in West Java. And because of our very warm contacts and friendships that we had made in Jakarta, I was only too delighted that they asked me and my wife, if we could represent Israel again in Bandung. Bandung is in West Java. It's the third largest city in Indonesia. And I just want to mention something. I went to a Holocaust, they had a Holocaust, it was a memorial for the Dutch righteous Gentile who saved a lot of Dutch children in Amsterdam in the orphanage. And I met a lady there, and I was speaking to her, and she said to me that she actually went with her parents on a boat, and they got to Australia. I think it was in Perth, and they said, no, you can't come in, we don't allow you, you don't have the correct papers. And she ended up going to Bandung in Indonesia, because Indonesia was once part of the Netherlands. It was a Dutch colony. And during the Shoah, she was saved, she was living in Bandung. And this I heard a few months before Lucy and I were going to go to Indonesia. So that was actually quite amazing that there was once quite a sizable Jewish community in Indonesia from when it was under the Dutch control. So this is a volcano, not so far from Bandung. It's an active volcano. And often you'll hear on the news in West Java they have volcano eruptions, but it was actually quite amazing because we went very close to this volcano. And just going to show you something.
Bandung, Indonesia. Thank you. You all worked so hard. You really so appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hello.
So I'm just going to show you, these are a few videos, incredible videos of people in Bandung, all Indonesians.
Okay, it's Jerusalem of Gold, and it's just been a wonderful exhibition here in Bandung. Shalom from Israel. Okay. And you know what this is? Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
So in the background, you can see there's the exhibition, and I had quite a few postcards, first aid covers and postcards of Jerusalem, which I gave to people attending the exhibition, and they accepted it so warmly, and they were so happy. It was this, the eyes lit up as if I'd given them gold, and it was from the Jerusalem of gold. That I'll show you.
How do you know?
Shalom.
Yeah.
mentioned in TV such as National Geographic
okay.
or Discovery Channel.
Wow, okay. So I hope you enjoyed. So, Tada Rabban, let's thank you.
Thank you.
And Shalom is hello and goodbye and peace. We all pray for like peace. And you must one day come and visit Israel. It's very special. Okay, all the very best. And it's so nice meeting you all. And I hope you enjoy it. And enjoy the stamp exhibition. Okay, bye-bye. Shalom. Okay, this is Bobby from Bali. And you were singing, how do you sing it? Beautiful. Thank you so much for being ready. Tadarabah. Thank you very much. Shalom from Israel. Wow.
I must tell you, in my wildest dreams, I never would have imagined that I would meet somebody in Bandung singing Hinei Matovu. And then I met this chap here.
What do you know? Like what? Can you show here one? How does it go? Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, and then what else? What other song? Amazing! Wow, wow, wow.
Okay, well, I must just go there.
I know.
So for me to meet these people, it was something I could never have imagined. And because I was wearing, I was very happy to wear, I've always worn a yarmulke. And I think people recognized me as coming from Israel. They knew that I was the Israeli commissioner, my wife and I. And they just came up to us and we just connected on such an amazing level. And I just asked him, about Israel. And then to have two people singing Israeli songs and Hebrew songs, it was, it's something that I will never forget. It was, it actually can bring tears to one's eyes. It was phenomenal. And there we in the middle of Bandung. I don't know if you saw when he was singing Nema Tovu, the Egyptian commissioner was walking behind, and from Kuwait, they were also walking. They were hearing somebody singing Nema Tovu in the middle of Muslim Bandung, where we had the exhibition. Is one of the largest, right next to the exhibition grounds, was one of the largest mosques in Indonesia. And you just see how people, how we connected. It was something really extraordinary. So in 2018, and I'm jumping from one exhibition to another, but Germany decided to have something also extremely unique. They had never done it before. They were having a national exhibition for the whole of Germany, and they wanted Israel to join as a special guest. And it was, for me, one of the greatest honors and privilege to be invited to be the Israeli commissioner in Fellbach, which is outside Stuttgart. And I went with my wife. It was actually with mixed feelings, because the year before we had gone to Poland, and in 2016 I had gone to Lithuania, and I'm very associated with, have a deep connection with survivors from the Holocaust. So going to represent Israel in Germany wasn't such an easy decision, but I thought, I've been asked to and to wear a yarmulke to represent my country in Germany. It's a great honor and a privilege to do so. So this was the main poster, the main advertisement of the exhibition, and you can see it's with Germany and Israel. And at the opening ceremony, there's a short video that I'm just going to show you where the mayor was there and the organizers and the head of the German postal were there as well as the head of the German Philatelic Federation. So it's about a short video, but I think it's actually quite momentous.
Realität umgesetzt hat. Persönlich darf Sie um Ihre Begrüßungsrede bitten.
This is the mayor of Fellbach.
Ja, sehr geehrter Herr Steche, sehr geehrter Herr Barak, Frau Barak, sehr geehrter Herr Glassman, sehr geehrter Herr Schmid, sehr geehrter Herr Scheile.
To the Lord Mayor, Gabriela Zoll, and the President of the German Philatelic Federation, Alfred Schmidt, and to the organizers of this wonderful event here in Fellbach. I really bring greetings from Israel. You know, having looked at the cancellation that you did of this exhibition, it's very, very significant. We have, and you can see it here so beautifully on the poster, we have two symbols. We have the symbol of the Brandenburg Gate and the menorah. And these are very, very significant and very important symbols for both countries. Little present from Israel. This is Jerusalem, and it's from the Israeli Philatelic Federation. We really thank you tremendously for the invitation and for participating in this wonderful exhibition.
Thank you very much. Very nice. Good. Herzlichen Dank. Thank you very much. We're very happy that you're here. Thank you.
And we have another for the President of the German Philatelic Federation, Mr. Schmidt, also from myself and from Mr. Barak and from the Israeli Philatelic Federation. Thank you for the invitation and for...
And here is the exhibition, where they had the exhibition in the exhibition hall. I just took a snippet of it to give an idea. It was very widely covered in the German press. Okay. And then there were two stamps that were issued, and you can see here it says it's from the Deutsche Post, German postage, and it's Israel's together with Germany. And here's the other stamp, which was actually quite incredible, that the two stamps which have Israel on it. And this exhibition that they had in Germany was for the whole of Germany. It was from West Germany, East Germany, all united Germany. And the cancellation that they used... Sorry, this is a video of one of the judges.
We created 3 years ago an envelope from our old synagogue, and I will send some envelopes afterwards compared also with the postcard. And can we see? I know you have it on your phone. I have it on my phone, and you created. You were the one. Just have a look. It's a postcard. That is before and after. It's phenomenal. And you created it. Yes, I created it. Wow, John, that's incredible. And then you showed the stamp. And this is amazing. Wow, this is phenomenal. The postmark, that is fantastic. Well, thank you so much. You're welcome. Really, I really appreciate it.
And then what happened is that we exchanged emails, and I sent him a few stamps from Israel, and then I received in the post, they actually sent me the original postcard of the shul before and after. And this is the stamp with the postmark, the cancellation that he actually designed with a picture of the shul. So it was extraordinary, and it was such an honor to meet him. He was one of the judges at this exhibition. And the exhibition was for German philatelists from the whole of Germany. So it really did break down those stereotypes and barriers, because I met German philatelists from all parts of Germany, and wearing a yarmulke, I encountered no anti-Semitism. On the opposite, people came up to me and they said they're so happy that my wife and I had come, and that we were representing Israel. And quite a few said they'd like to go visit Israel, and some had visited Israel already. The cancellation that I spoke about in the opening address,
Les, could you possibly get closer to your mic? It's very difficult to hear.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Very difficult.
Oh, okay. Is this better? All right. Okay. So this is the, thanks for letting me know. This was the cancellation that the German Post did. Wow, I wish I would have done it sooner. Okay, so we have the Brandenburg Gate and the menorah. And this was the cancellation that they used on all the stamps from that exhibition from the German Post. And it's got Israel in it, the bilateral Deutschland and Israel. And they gave out, these were the medals, I've got a medal here, also with the Brandenburg Gate. I'll actually take it out. They gave to the collectors, the exhibitors, each person that exhibited their collections, they were awarded this medal, which has the menorah and the Brandenburg Gate. So German philatelists all over Germany, in their homes, have a memento of the menorah together with the Brandenburg Gate from this incredible exhibition. And for me personally, it was like a circle. In South Africa in 2010, when I was at that exhibition, and I saw that exhibit from Bruce Sheridan on the Descent into the Abyss. That was the name of his exhibit, about the origins, the forerunners of the Shoah, the actual Shoah itself, the letters, and those are the only memories of people that survived, that didn't survive, but that is the only remnants of this family that we have. And the hope after the Shoah, and then to come 10 years later, well, 8 years later, and to be in Feldbach, to have a joint Israel-Germany exhibit where they proudly displayed the menorah. It was very significant. So this was the Descent into the Abyss, which we made into a book of his whole exhibit. And being in Feldbach, we met with so many people, and they took us to a Jewish cemetery, and people were very, they invited us to the hometowns. We went to a place where there once was a shul that was converted into a church, and because it was a church, on Kristallnacht it wasn't destroyed, but you can see where the bima once was, and they've got a plaque that this was once a synagogue. So being in Feldbach, it was actually quite extraordinary. The person that we arrived in Frankfurt, and they got a driver, Helmut. He was an amazing guy. He took us all the way from Frankfurt to Stuttgart. It was about nearly 4 hours on the Autobahn. And he didn't know really how to relate to us. His English wasn't so good, but it was incredible that he came to collect us. And then he took us the one day when we had a bit of spare time to the deportation in Stuttgart where the Jews were deported. And he told us, as we arrived at this deportation, they've got a memorial that his father was in the Wehrmacht. So for him, it couldn't have been that easy either. But he, by him asking us if we were interested in going to see where this memorial is of the Jews that were deported from Stuttgart, it was just something, it was incredible. And we were so appreciative, and it was so kind of him to do it. He didn't have to do it. And we developed a very close friendship. We touched by email, and we phoned each other, and we wished each other like over the New Year, and he wishes me for Rosh Hashanah. So it's been a journey that I am really extremely grateful that that they asked me to represent Israel, and in that way I was able, actually also by wearing my kippah, I always felt proud to represent my country and my people, and to meet amazing people, Muslims, Christians, Hindus. It made no difference. You know, when you all have the same values and you're interested in just looking at each other as individuals, just as that statement that stamps know no boundaries, they cross oceans and seas throughout the world. It really is true. When you see each other as just individuals and you can respect each other for this, you know, it's irrelevant what one religion is or what race is, but you just see each other as individuals. You have so much in common. And it's been a journey that I've really been so grateful that I've had that opportunity. So just want to end off to wish you all a Shana Tova, a Gmar Chatima Tova. And I want to show you, this is something that Israel also had a World Stamp Championship, and they awarded this shofar, I think at the bottom you can see this, they awarded this shofar as a special prize. They gave it to many of the exhibitors that came from all over the world. This was in Israel in 2018. They had it in Jerusalem. And I really would encourage our HOD brethren out there. What I found through the years, and we'll open up for questions, of collecting stamps and being involved in all aspects of philately, is that it is such a rich hobby. And when you get letters and you look, you sent the letters and you have family letters and you read those letters, it's you're reading history, you're touching little pieces of art. Stamps are like little pieces of art that represent different countries. And I've been really blessed to have had this opportunity to represent Israel. And I want to thank Avron, our Grand President, and I want to thank Stan, previous Grand President, and Brian Shaw, and all HOD members for giving me the opportunity to also be part of the HOD. The motto after L'Recha Kamocha, it resonates so much, and I'm exceptionally grateful. It's been one of the greatest blessings to be a member of HOD, and I've taken the tenets of HOD with me when I was on my philatelic journey as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Les, for an amazing talk. I think we can open up the floor for questions. Any questions?
I think Stan had a question, but now he's run away.
Okay. Can I just show you? I forgot to show you. This is the book that I was given by the son of the, it was the son of the Iranian commissioner, with a catalog of Israel that was published in Tehran. This is in the time of the Shah. The relations between Iran and Israel were very close before the Khomeini came to power. So he gave this to me as a gift, and I really I treasure it. And even meeting, you know, I had if I can just mention, I had no idea how it would be like to meet the Iranian commissioner. I was actually very nervous. So when we sat with each other and we spoke, all barriers like evaporated. And that saying that stamps no boundaries is actually really true. Because when you really sit one-on-one with people, and we see today with the signing of this historical accords with Israel and the UAE and Bahrain, people really can respect each other, despite, not only despite their difference, because of their differences.
Okay.
And I think that's what
Yes. Can I, it's Myron Robinson. Yoshaka on a presentation.
Thanks, Myron.
I used to be an avid stamp collector in my youth, and my late grandfather bought me an album of the heritage of Israeli stamps, which are populated from 48 to about 67, and I gave it to my niece. Have you any idea of the value of that?
Okay, so yeah, it's really interesting. The very first stamps of Israel, if you've got the Doivri, it's fascinating, the Israeli philately. They didn't know what to call. When the British, when they left in 1948, so they knew that the British were going to leave, and what was going to happen with what stamps were they going to use. So clandestinely, they did it very secretively. They had a printing press, which was very, very primitive, and they didn't know what the country was going to be called. So they called they put the very first stamps of Israel, it's the coins, the original coins. They had Bakochba on the very first stamps, and they called it the Doivri. And at the bottom of a sheet of stamps, they had tabs. Israel was one of the very first countries to actually have tabs. Tabs is like an explanation of what the stamp is, but it's the bottom of the sheet. And if you've got those Doivris, and if you've got the tab, if it's with a tab, so they're actually extremely valuable because they didn't make too many of them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, so the very first stamps, I'd say from 48 till about 55, are worth, they've got a they actually are quite valuable. But from then onwards, unfortunately, so many stamps were issued, so they're not so uncommon. But the very first Doivri, and what's very interesting with stamps, people are now moving a lot into the postal history. So if you've got letters with the stamps on in the postmarks, that's a whole new field. It's become, in a way, I think it's going to supersede actually the actual stamps, is the postal history, because it's fascinating. Each letter has got such information, and so much research is done on these letters, and that's also very valuable. So my advice is never ever tear off the stamp, because the postmark with the stamp might not even be worth much, the stamp. Like one of our esteemed members told me that they've got a first day cover that was sent to Churchill. So that in alone,
I heard that.
Yeah, that's very valuable. That's extremely, and it would be very interesting to find out who sent it to Churchill.
Yeah.
Les,
sorry. Thanks, Les. I don't think it's got tears, but can I just show you? I've got a first aid cover.
With pleasure.
Can you see that? Issued in May '67.
How do I get to see? I can't really. I can only see 4 people.
Yeah, well, there are only 3 stamps on the whole thing.
Just want to see. Everyone, how do
I've also.
But you see, move the share screen, it will be bigger.
Oh yes, now I can see it. Okay, okay, Myron, I can see that. Okay, so that was a first aid cover from '67, from the '67 war.
Just before.
Okay, just before. But unfortunately, Myron, first aid covers, wow, all over the world, especially South Africa and the homelands, they issued literally millions and millions. So, but my advice is, so it's not worth so much, but my advice is, they're very beautiful. Yes, I can see it very well.
This is something different. This is a letter.
Now, those are the, it's a beautiful, that's the set. That's the set of different emblems of the towns of Israel. So value-wise, it's not worth so much, but historically, it's very, very valuable.
You can see there's a letter here. I haven't even opened it.
So that letter, no, but what I would recommend is, even if it's not intrinsically so valuable because so many were issued, it's so nice to hand down to one's grandchildren and to perpetuate the hobby.
I'm actually so sorry that I gave my whole Israeli collection away, because I'm sure I populated almost all of it. And just another thing, not only Israeli stamps.
Yeah.
I've got these Southwest African stamps, and I've got mint copies inside the envelope. Do you know anything about Southwest African stamps?
Yeah, so the Southwest African, if it was under the German occupation, those are very, very valuable if they're German or Southwest African.
No, it was 1953, would have been under South Africa.
So even then, 53, they are actually, some of them are, they're very desirable. The problem with the first aid covers is the first aid covers were, it was philatelic. So they overdid it, and they published too many, so it's not that rare. But the actual stamps itself, a lot of people collect Southwest. It's a very collectible country.
Because I've got a whole sheath inside here of mint, but unfortunately I think I've handled them. You know, these are all the, sorry, I've just got like mint stamps there. I don't know if it's got any intrinsic value.
So you know what? It's a four penny. It might not have, but it's actually very nice. It's not that valuable, but it's lovely to keep.
Yeah, because it's also signed by the Office of the Director of Post and Telegraphs in Windhoek.
So that in itself is actually, and it's got the original signature.
Yeah, it's an original letter.
So that is very collectible. That's incredibly collectible, because that forms part of a postal. You know, people who collect in Southwest. That's worth much more than the stamps.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thanks very much.
Right. While getting back to Israel, Liz, when are you coming to South Africa again? Just remind me. I have a booklet actually a catalogue of Arab stamps of hate Israel.
Oh, okay.
The propaganda stamps. The little booklet. Unfortunately, it's a small booklet, and I don't quite remember where I've put it. But I'm sure that will be of great interest to you as well.
It is. There's unfortunately, there were quite a few Arab countries that issued it's like propaganda stamps against Israel, and people do collect it. So I just want to mention. Can I just mention something about an incredible thing that happened in Bandung? I was very friendly with the commissioner from Egypt, a very nice fellow. And I had an Israeli exhibition from a Haredi guy here in Kiryat Sefer, which is Beitar Elite, on Arab POWs in 1948. And he did this wonderful exhibit. And he got it, whatever his award was. The Egyptian commissioner came up to me and he said he had a look at this exhibit. And he went to the judges and he said, you know what, he deserves more. Because his research is incredible. You know, he knows the topic pretty well, and his research is incredible. He's done so much work on that exhibit. The stamps might not be that valuable, but his research. So they actually increased his award, and that was coming from an Egyptian judge at that exhibition. So, yeah, so you know, it's quite interesting. But what you showing, Bernard, what you have about the propaganda, the anti-Israeli propaganda, there were stamps showing like the Al-Aqsa, and they show. It's a pity that those countries issued them, because it's.
This is very early stuff. That must probably go. I don't think it's even later than the 60s. It's very early material. For instance, I show a dagger in the state of Israel and blood and hanging.
There was a plane that had flown over, and they didn't know if it was carrying a bomb, and it was Israeli. They took the plane down, and they issued a stamp on that.
Please God, they'll now have stamps to commemorate the treaty between Israel and the UAE. And Bahrain.
Well, what's amazing is that the Egyptian president, Sisi, he's very positive, and he's come out in tremendous support for this peace agreement. And you see, I went via Cairo about 2 years ago on my way to South Africa, and people, you know, I went with my Israeli passport. They've got the embassy in Tel Aviv, and they were very positive. I felt. You know, people were very nice to me. I went on a Jewish tour of Cairo. It was actually quite incredible. So things really have changed, and you see it. You actually can feel that there's in certain Arab countries, they want peace. You know, they're very intrigued. And I'll just mention something quite incredible. When I was in Indonesia, in Jakarta, there was also the European. I think it was the European. It was 2012, the soccer finals, and they also. Soccer crazy, and I told people when we were discussing so many topics, I said, do you know that there is a lot of Arab players in the Israeli national team? And they couldn't believe what I was telling them. I said, one of them is Wali Badir, and he's actually the captain of Hapoel Tel Aviv. and they could not believe. I said, check it out. And they went on the internet, they checked, they saw he actually was the captain of Philatellicaly. So
I watched
there's a lot
him
of
play.
positivity.
Yeah, I watched him play Scotland. There about 4 or 5
Yeah, sure.
played.
For sure. And you know, that's the way it should be. It's wonderful.
No, you're 100% correct.
When you have like the whole of, you know, in Israel, you have these Arab teams in the league. Racism has no place anywhere, and especially not in sports. And I find that, you know, I was just treated so nicely in Indonesia, which is the biggest Muslim country in the world. And when I go to soccer games here in Israel, and you have some Israeli, the best Israeli soccer players, some of them are Muslim. But only, you know, we all say loving the same sport. And it really, that also makes
Yes, thanks a lot. I've got to go.
Okay.
Wow, thank you so much. And I just want to thank you all, really. I know tonight was a momentous on TV, watching the signing of the accords, of this peace accords with UAE and Bahrain. And I just want to thank you all so much for spending the time. And I hope you found it interesting. But
yes,
for me, it's been a great honor. That
I just want to give a vote of thanks. Wow, what a talk, and how appropriately timed with today's signing of the historic peace accord with Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain. Your talk.
So you knew something there, Ron.
Your talks. Sorry, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Your talk speaks of binding ties in a fragmented world. Who could imagine relating to Arabs and the Iranians in this age? Stamps and certainly your colleagues have transcended boundaries where politicians have failed. Wishing everyone a Shana Tova, Matuka, a good new year filled with good health and happiness.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
We should be together more often, and only good things.
Question.
5780 has been pretty lousy, so let's hope 5781 is better.
Definitely, Jeff. But everybody feel free to stay. There's no hurry to
Lawrence wanted to ask a question. Lawrence.
Yeah, Les, do you know a good friend of mine, a dentist in Herzliya, Solly or Cecil Bergman?
Wow, Cecil and I were in the same class. Sully, Sully is, you know, I was in Edenvale and I was in a practice and I was making Aliyah. And I asked, I didn't want it was Martin Terespolsky's practice, and I asked Sully to take it over. So I have a very close connection. Sully is like one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Special guy, yeah.
Very special.
Right.
Les, is your brother Jackie?
I think he's from East London.
No, Port Elizabeth.
Port Elizabeth.
Not East London. I'm from East London.
Really? So we just heard there's unfortunately the community's become very fragmented with the war in East London.
So were you a bit?
I'm from Springs.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever heard of Springs?
Sure.
Yeah, cousins.
Hello, Joe Cohen.
Hi, Joe.
Hello.
How you doing? Welcome.
Very well, thank you. Thank you. Sorry I was late for this talk, Les. I'm sorry I was late.
No, Joe,
We've recorded it, so it will also be available. You can see it from the beginning.
Excellent. Thank you.
Can you send the recording?
Yeah.
Les, are you still in touch with Mike
I'll send
Samuel?
it through Stan. Stan will be able to send it through.
Okay, thanks.
You know, Mark was. It's actually quite sad. Mark was ill.
I need to go. Cheers, guys.
Cheers,
Brian. Hey,
Shana
Bernard, you never heard?
Shana Tova.
No, carry on.
Everybody.
So he passed away, unfortunately.
You, Mike? Oh,
Yeah.
no, I didn't know about it. No. When was this?
It's about a year, maybe a bit more than a year.
Right,
But I'm in
his
touch with Gita, and I see
Gita's his daughter.
Gita's his wife.
The wife.
And
Okay.
I see the Greenbacks. I see the Greenbacks quite often, and I actually saw as a patient. I see them as patients as well. And I went to the Schlossing.
I'm sorry to hear that. I wasn't aware of that at all. I just remember the unfortunate incident of his first wife, and it was that tragic at that
Karen.
Yeah. He was the assistant to the Chazanim Marshal at the time, if you remember exactly.
Sure. Then with Mark Freegate, I'm in touch with Mark.
Liz, is your brother Jackie?
Yeah.
Your brother Jackie?
I've got two brothers, Jackie and Michael, sure.
Jackie's wife Hazel is my cousin.
Really? Wow, what a small world.
Wow. Shana Tova from Warren Hormel in Dallas, Texas.
Wow, I'll do that, Warren. That's incredible. Sure. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. And this is such a small world.
Really is.
And Joe, I just want to mention something to Joe. Really, Joe, thank you. I really want to thank you personally. You know, you put on Benjamin Sarovsky on the healing list. He was so ill, you know, they told his wife that he might only have 3 to 4 hours to live.
Really?
He's paralyzed on his one side. The good news is that he's at home now. He's really at home. So that to healing list, I'm telling you, it helped a lot of people, and we are so grateful. I told the wife that you know what HOD did and what you guys have done, and it's been incredible.
Yeah.
Talking about that list, Joe, you'll see the spelling of my surname in my picture.
Have I spelled it incorrectly, Bernard?
Somewhat.
What did I say? SCH.
SCHUL.
Sorry, I will change it.
Good. I'm looking out tomorrow morning to see if we got it right.
Oh, Warren, what a small world, Warren. That's incredible.
Say hi to Hazel and the girls.
I will.
I've known you long enough, Bernard. I should have got it right.
Yeah, that's all right. Hello, Jeff. I haven't seen you around for a while, Jeff Kowalski.
Fine, how are you?
Good, okay, thank you, Tor. Some faces, I think we should have more of these international talks. There's faces I'm seeing here that I haven't seen in a long, long while.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
In fact, even Stan Clef I can see.
You know, the funny thing is with the virus and suddenly everything going Zoom, in a sense, we can now attend to much more things than we did in the past. You know, I've been to, like, my granddaughter's science fair in Cleveland, Ohio. I would never have flown to Cleveland for the science fair. Or you can attend, you know, weddings, funerals, chas v'chalila, bar mitzvahs on the other side of the planet, which we wouldn't have done. So, in some sense, we've lost contact with people. In another sense, this kind of thing is allowing us to see our brothers meet again, have a little fun. And
wonderful.
Kind of a bittere gelächter, is it not?
Yeah. Good to see you, Jeff. Good to be here. And Warren, kol hakavod on your newsletter, your newsletter which goes out every week. Kol hakavod.
Super, absolutely super. Right, fine.
Everyone, thank you for organizing this.
Pleasure. Well done, Les. Well done. We please got more talks in the future.
Apologies that there was not a larger contingent from the UK. I'm going to have a word about this.
No, you know what?
It's actually a bit of a problem in all. Sorry to interrupt, but I can tell you that nearly 50 people registered. And I mean, they haven't pitched. I don't know whether they got the time wrong or what it was, but
we're not so, yeah.
Well, Stan, my wife was invited to view her nephew's bar mitzvah in Cape Town last week, and she set her clock perfectly for 2 o'clock, and then suddenly realized it was 2 o'clock South Africa time, and already she had missed the whole bar mitzvah. So I bet people they've said it for, you know, you've got to be, we're used to it in America with time zones, but, you know, when you send out a document like that, it does say, you know, that there's the abbreviation for SAST or something.
But you know, it's wonderful.
Probably be very clear that it's South African time, because I'm sure people have made that mistake.
But just as long as the rest of the world gets that the world revolves around South Africa, so it's South African time.
There we go.
The rest of the time.
There's a problem with US time, because I registered I registered to listen to an interview of our former chief rabbi, Lord Jonathan Sachs, being interviewed by the editor of the Jewish Book Review, and it said 5 p.m. EDT or some such name,
Eastern,
I really struggled to work out.
Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah. I had an awful time working out exactly what time that would be in England. Eventually, I managed to work it out. But
I got one word for you.
Yes.
Google. You should have looked
I did.
it up.
I did Google, and I managed to listen to a most amazing interview of Rabbi Lord Sachs.
He's an amazing guy. He's an amazing guy.
Yeah.
I had the honor of actually meeting him in person when he was in Atlanta a number of years ago.
Right.
And my Siddur, which is the Jonathan Sachs Siddur, is autographed by the great Rabbi himself. He's an amazing guy. He's an absolutely amazing guy. But thanks so much, Stan, and everyone for setting this up. You know, this is just great. I'm sorry I was late. I had a bunch of stuff going on.
We got the timer up.
Everyone, thanks for recording.
Sure.
Once it's recorded,
we can distribute it. No problem. We can distribute
it. Just want to say one last thing about Les. I've always told him, Philatellicaly will get you everywhere.
Stan, you're amazing. You know, I just want to mention, Stan, you and I go back many years, and wow, and it's just been such a wonderful experience being part of HOD as well. It's been a journey as well. And I'm very
you know what, Liz, I must tell you something. You always honor everybody else when you talk, but you need a lot of credit yourself. You've done some amazing stuff.
Yeah.
You've done in Israel for the order, and what you've done for, you know, as a representative, as a commissioner for Israel on these things. I mean, people don't realize the depth, you know, the depth of your input to everything, and you're always humble. Really humble, and one of the most humble people I know, and you deserve a lot more credit than you give yourself.
Wow, Stan is very kind.
Stan has also got such a beautiful smile.
Yes.
Hi, Bernard Glass. Welcome, Bernard Glass.
Better late than never.
Unmute yourself, Bernard. Unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself.
You want to hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
We're going to start in a few minutes, Bernard.
The guest speakers arrived.
Oh, good.
Just can you hang on 5 minutes? We're going to start again.
No, Bernard's going to do a presentation now.
What's my subject?
Philatellicaly.
Yeah. Funny enough, talking about that, I was clearing out my attic the other day, and I found there must be a good few thousand stamps from my youth days in Cape Town when I used to collect stamps. Israeli stamps, worldwide stamps. I was going through them one day. You never know. Maybe they're worth $1 million. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe the Cape Triangular black one.
Have a look if you got the Cape Triangulars. Like
I've got the penny black as well.
Yeah, get it valued, Bernard. Get it valued.
Yeah, get it valued. You can retire. You can retire.
They said the other day they were missing a few of them, so maybe it's been
I'm working
collection.
full time for HOD.
Good. Now we know why. You've got stamps to fall back on.
Absolutely.
But Bernard, can I just make a suggestion?
Yes.
If you get it valued, you know what you should do? Always make a photocopy before. You know, because you never know. You know, you don't. If you've got a photocopy of what you've got, then you can give it. Because if you don't, there could be one exceptionally valuable Cape of Good Hope triangle.
Right.
You know, there aren't. You know, you don't know who to trust out there. So just make a photocopy of what you have. And today with the phone, it's very easy. Just take a picture with your phone.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good idea.
It's like in the movies, you go in the door and out the door in the same movement, and your stamp's gone.
It's actually very wise counsel that to take pictures of anything of value. I had break-ins in my office during our lockdown, and certain artwork was stolen. And the insurance said, "Show me the pictures." I haven't got pictures.
Wow.
So that's that. So take pictures.
An insurance agent gave me that idea many years ago. He said, take your camera, it was before the phone camera, and he said, walk around your house, open all the drawers, open them, and take 100 photographs.
Right.
And then in those days, develop them, and put them away in a lockbox, or give it to your attorney or something. Because if ever you had a fire, you'll never remember what you had in this room and that room. And
all your valuables will be gone in a flash.
That's right. In a flash drive.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, guys. Good job, everybody.
Cheers.
Good night. Thank you, Liz. Great.
Wow, and thank you all so very much.
Pleasure. We'll make this recording available.
Thank you, everyone. And Liz.
Pleasure.
Bye.
All the best. Keep well, guys.
You too.
Cheers.
What time did it start?
Started an hour and 20 minutes ago.
Well, I thought it was 7:30.
7:30 South African time. Don't you know the whole world revolves around South Africa?
Oh, slecht. Okay.
We're
going to have it. We're going to put it on.
Send me the recording.
Yeah, we'll get it through to you.
Everyone, can you send me the recording?
Yeah, I'll have to send it through the share. Like you shared your files with me, we share.
But everyone, really, thank you so much for encouraging me to do this, and wow, and I'm really grateful, because I actually was very motivated to do it, and it's thanks to you.
A pleasure.
And I just also want to thank, if I can take this opportunity to thank a good friend of mine, Larry Pfeffer, here in Israel, who helped me put the photos together, and I'm just very grateful to so many people for...
Yes, where do you live in Israel, Les?
I'm in Jerusalem. I've been here 26 years.
Oh, right. I've got a son in Ramat Beit Shemesh.
Really? Hey?
Yep.
Oh. And what does he do, Bernard?
He's in Kollel.
Which one?
The Gra.
Wow. And which yeshiva was he before?
When he finished university, he went to Mir for a while.
Wow. Bernard, that's the Ivy League. You know,
it's the Ivy League. It's right at the top.
I know. And then he went to another one. What was it called? Oh, it just gone to me. It's somewhere near the at the back of the main synagogue in Jerusalem. Oh, damn it! It's run by, I think, one of a British guy.
But that he was at the Mir, it's a big deal. That's really a big deal.
He's a big shot.
And what does your son do?
He publishes a Devout Torah every day, which is circulated to about 250 people.
Amazing.
If you want to send me your email addresses, I'll get him to put you on the email address.
Please, Bernard, everyone, can you send Bernard my WhatsApp or my email?
Yeah, I'll send it. No problem, Bernard. I'll send it.
Do you know my details, Ebron?
I'm sure I've got it somewhere.
I'll put my email address now on chat.
Okay.
Yeah,
go for it.
Bernard, you can be very proud. I'm telling you that your son was in the Mir is a major big deal.
Yeah, with his economics degree from Cambridge University.
Yeah, amazing.
You know something, Bernard? Can I just mention something?
Yes.
The many, and I've got patients who at the Mir, many academics, many, and some very professional people, and being at the Mir is harder than anything that they've ever done in their, like in the university or their schooling or.
He was there. He wanted to stay longer, but he was there only for a year. He found he was leaving home when the kids were still asleep. When he got home, the kids were asleep. So he said he never used to see his kids.
It's incredible.
Have you got my email address?
Got it. BernardGlass19@gmail. Got it.
That's it.
Wonderful.
Right.
Okay, Les. Sorry,
all the best, and thank you guys so much.
Fantastic. And Les, kol hakavod, you've put a lot of work into this, and it's a dream come true after a month. So well done. Kol hakavod, you put a lot of work into it, and keep the flag flying high, not only Israel but the HOD.
Everyone, thanks a million, and God bless, and Shana Tova.
Yeah, Shana Tova, Gemar Chatima Tova. All the best. All the best.
Cheers.
Cheers.